Afield is presented by Gusto Hunting Preserve.
Welcome to Afield, a soul-grown podcast where we're leaving behind their traditional studio and heading into the heart of Alabama's great outdoors. I'm your host, Christiana Roussel. Join me for meaningful and adventurous conversations with artists, chefs, hunters, and more who all have a shared passion for conservation and shaping the life we live outdoors in the South. Welcome to Afield. I'm your host, Christiana Roussel. Today we are joined by famed outdoorswoman Alyssa Hall, also known as Allie from Alabama. Thanks for sitting down with me today.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity.
I'm
excited.
So excited to sit down with you. I have to admit, I was really nervous before I met you, because I had looked at all of your Instagram feed, and if you're not following Allie from Alabama, you need to go ahead and follow her. And you do some amazing things.
Oh, thank you.
Can you talk about some of the things that you highlight on your feed? What are you known for?
I am mainly known for noodling, which is when you grab catfish with your hands. Got a couple of scars to show for those. And that is, I'd say, probably over the last 5 years is what has really grown our page, because a lot of people hadn't seen it before, even though it's been a sport that's been around probably since the early 90s with Girls Gone Grabbling. If you haven't looked that up, you should too. But I'm also, my husband and I are heavily involved in whitetail hunting. We turkey hunt, all the things down here in South Alabama that we can enjoy. We get out and we enjoy it.
Now, you did not grow up noodling.
I didn't grow up doing any of this stuff. I certainly didn't grow up knowing that I would work for Buckmasters one day.
And we're going to talk more about Buckmasters, but I want to talk more about first what got you into noodling in the first place.
Oh, my lovely husband. My parents were real excited about that. When Cody and I first started dating, I'm 29 now, so it was 9 years ago. I just turned 20, and I met Cody, and he did everything outdoors. He grew up in Mississippi and loved to whitetail hunt, loved to turkey hunt, anything predator, he wanted to take it down. And he was raised that way. I was quite the opposite. All of my meat came from a grocery store. I did not know there were wild hogs in the state that I lived in. I had never seen or heard a coyote, and I certainly didn't know people grabbed catfish with their hands. But Cody is the most patient person I've ever met on the face of the planet. I like to joke and say that he has more patience in his pinky toe than I do in my whole body. And he taught me everything there is to know about the outdoors.
But you had to be an eager learner, too.
I did. It took a lot of being willing to be open-minded. But I say, and this is so cheesy too, when I first met Cody, I knew that was my person. I literally called my best friend Hannah on the way home from driving 2 hours south to meet him, because we were long distance when we first started dating. I called her and I said, "This is the one, girl. You can call me crazy, you can say whatever you want, but I'm going to marry this man." And I realized then, our hobbies were totally different, but truly, if I wanted to get to know Cody on those deeper levels and spend more time with him, it was going to take me being open-minded and willing to try new things. And honestly, that did me a favor. I think I spent a lot of my life in fear of new things, and it forced me to overcome that fear.
So just to learn to do new things and to get that confidence level, because once you learn one new thing, you're like, all right, I didn't die.
Yeah, I could do it again.
Yes, exactly.
I think I spent a lot of my life in my little comfortable bubble,
right?
Especially in my teenage years. And so cool to hit my 20s and feel like, man, I'm a brand new person and I'm getting to do all these really cool things. I grew up in a Christian school, and quite opposite of what you would think, my spiritual life, because of going to Christian school, wasn't in the greatest of places. And I like to say it's because, I was going to school with the same people I was going to church with, and you get to know people a little differently. And I just really struggled spiritually during that time frame of my life, my freshman to senior year. But when I started dating Cody and he started taking me outdoors, and I had to spend a lot of quiet, alone time with just me and God.
Yes.
I mean, it brings tears to my eyes right now. Life-changing. And so I rediscovered myself, not because of shooting a deer or shooting a turkey, but because of the time I got to spend with God quietly outdoors.
It's really hard to quiet all of the voices in your head all the time. So, and I know that especially with turkey hunting, you have to be super quiet.
Don't move, don't blink.
Don't move, don't blink, and don't even make any noise at all. So I imagine you got really close with God then.
Yes.
And so I bet you feel like God sent you Cody.
Absolutely. No doubt in my mind about that.
Right.
It's funny you mentioned turkey. That's the first thing we ever hunted together. And it was only because I didn't think turkeys were cute. So somebody who was an anti-hunter, I was like, I will not shoot a squirrel. I will not shoot a rabbit. They're too cute and fluffy. We started with turkeys.
Okay.
And that was what got me hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Introduced me to whitetail, and then the following summer, noodling.
Okay.
Yes.
And so which one was the hardest to convince you to do?
I would definitely say whitetail. I thought, again, deer were cute. I also really struggled with, like, grasping that conservation is a part of hunting, and so I didn't want to shoot does at first, and Cody had to, like, give me the talk about it's important that we shoot those that reproduce too, or else they overproduce. And so I struggled with that. I did shed a tear or two after shooting my first doe.
But don't you feel like that's
Yes,
honoring what you're doing?
I look back on that now and I'm like, that was just respect.
Right.
That wasn't me not wanting to be a hunter or a provider or whatever that looks like. That was just respect for the animal.
Because it's all part of the natural world that we're in. And so it's giving up something that you're gaining, but you're honoring that life.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I realized I was what the butcher was on the cow for me. You know, I was just doing the work, and honestly, that brought me a lot of peace. So I got over that struggle pretty quickly.
And then the noodling. So
yeah, that one honestly didn't take much convincing because I had seen a lot of people do that, like on noodling tournaments and stuff. They're big Oklahoma noodling tournaments. So I had seen it done, and it didn't terrify me until I was like standing in a catfish hole for the first time, and I could hear it bite Cody under the water.
You could hear it bite?
Mm-hmm. It literally sounds like thunder.
Are you? Okay.
It's like thunder. It's like a car door slamming, but like muted. It's really, really cool.
I'm going to have to Google that.
You'll have to go with me. Honestly, that's been my favorite thing about noodling is taking other people noodling for the first time.
I'll go noodling with you.
Next summer. This is on the calendar.
Okay.
Afield. This is on the calendar. Okay.
All right, we're going to do it. Okay. So it really sounds like thunder, and so that was probably pretty scary.
It was. And then I felt like I was going to puke. Most certainly. And I was like, you know what? I think I've changed my mind. I'll just watch you do it. And of course, Cody was not settling with that. And it took a couple of different times going to new holes and him showing me how it was done and showing me he wasn't drowning or getting bitten by a snapping turtle, which everyone said.
Yeah. And have you ever been bitten by a snapping turtle? Okay.
We've never. People have asked me probably 2,000 times now, oh, have you ever found a snapping turtle or a snake in a hole? No. That's never happened.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, let's not jinx it or manifest that in any way. But
right.
We've never found anything other than a catfish. We also are very responsible as far as the holes that we check, which sounds crazy when you're not a noodler, but a lot of the horror stories that you hear about snapping turtles or snakes in holes are when people were in like beaver huts checking for catfish. I mean, they're where they didn't belong.
Okay.
And a lot of what we check is, you know, natural structure like boat ramps and things of that nature where snakes couldn't even possibly stay underwater that long.
Okay. I'm learning a lot today.
There is a lot to learn, especially about noodling.
Right. So if you don't have a Cody to teach you, and somebody who's watching says, all right, I think I kind of want to try this noodling thing. And you can only take so many people out every summer.
Yeah, I'm not signing up to be everybody's guide.
Exactly. But so tell me some ways that other people can get into it.
I feel like noodling and every other sport outdoors, because of social media now, we have so much rich information at our fingertips that we can look up anything. However, noodling... To me, I feel like you need to at least take someone with you for the first time. So you can go watch any tutorials you want to watch and take any advice you want to take from an expert about noodling, but have a friend with you, certainly. It can be dangerous if you don't want to, you know, get under a structure and get stuck.
Oh, yeah.
Or have a catfish take off with you instead of you take off with a catfish.
Can that happen?
I've only ever had them pull me in a certain direction and felt like, oh my goodness, I think he caught me instead of me catch it. But I sure would hate for someone to be alone, especially when you're going like underwater and boats and things are around you too. I just feel like having an extra set of eyes to be there and keep hands on you if needed.
That's good advice for anything in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now,
as far as like hunting goes, I mean, there are so many brands, Buckmasters included, but like Remington did a series on like beginner hunters, and anything 101, like those resources are so easy to attain now. We're probably back in like 86 when Buckmasters was born. That wasn't necessarily a thing.
Right.
You know, we're very blessed by that.
And I know that in the state of Alabama, they have something called Outdoor Alabama Academy.
Yep.
And they do a hunting 101, shooting 101, fishing 101. I don't know if they do a noodling 101. Maybe we need to add that to their list. So, but so I just think it's so great because like I didn't grow up hunting and fishing, but I have fallen in love with all of it. So I haven't gotten to noodling yet, but I just think we need to make ways for it to be more accessible to people.
I agree. I honestly frequently think back to like my childhood. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. I was a subdivision kid and loved every minute of it. I made some of my lifelong friends, you know, ding-dong ditching people and playing on the trampoline in our backyard. But I do wonder how it could have impacted me as a young adult and like how, if life would look differently now, if I had had the resources or just a friend that took me hunting for the first time or a friend that took me fishing with anything other than like bread like my dad did. No offense, Dad. In like little ponds, you know. And so I guess I would also say, on the reverse side of that, if you are somebody that has access to a hunting lease or a pond you can take friends to, or, you know, just somebody who likes to go on nature walks, definitely be the friend that invites a friend.
I think that's good advice. Very good advice. So I'm kind of curious. So you obviously didn't grow up doing these things. What did you want to be when you grew up? When you were a little kid, and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to be?
I laugh now because my daughter does it, and I did the exact same thing where it's like week to week it would change.
Of course.
You know, last week she wanted to be a nurse, and then she wanted to be a doctor and own a flower shop. And then today, you know, heading into K4, she said she wanted to be a teacher.
No.
That was me. I never really knew what I wanted to do or where I wanted to be when I grew up. I thought for a long time I wanted to be a teacher, and I pursued that like my first year of college, and then realized I want to be a mom more than I want to be a teacher. And if I'm going to have enough patience at the end of the day for my kids, I probably shouldn't be a teacher. And at the time I was working for a banking company or a financial institution, and fell in love with the sales side of it and the marketing side of it. So I switched majors, and I like to believe that faith was the bridge that got me from there to where I am now.
And that's
even
something
though
you
I didn't know it.
Yeah, that's something you say a lot.
That is our motto. Mm-hmm. A lot of times there have been.
Say it again.
Faith is the bridge that connects me from where I am now to where I'll be tomorrow.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, wouldn't you say too that you are still a teacher?
Oh my gosh. That's a good point, Christiana. I didn't even think about that.
Yes, you are still teaching.
Wow. Honestly, that just gave me chills. Seriously.
Aww.
Got my loud voice going when I got excited. That is so crazy.
You are a teacher.
Aww.
You're getting to do a lot of the things. You're going to do all the things. Are you passionate about wild places and wildlife, especially our beloved bobwhite quail? Do you enjoy the thrill of the hunt and the beauty of the great outdoors? If so, it's time to join Quail Forever. Quail Forever is dedicated to the conservation of quail habitat. With the support of volunteers and members like you, we're making a difference, 1 acre at a time. By joining Quail Forever, you become a part of a community committed to wildlife habitat conservation and public lands access. You'll also receive our Quail Forever journal and a decal for your vehicle or travel mug. Together, we can ensure future generations experience the joy of quail hunting and the beauty of our natural landscapes. Whether you're an avid hunter, a nature lover, or simply someone who cares about our environment, Quail Forever welcomes you. Visit quailforever.org to learn more and become a member today. That's quailforever.org to be a positive difference for quail today. Working for wildlife since 1935, Alabama Wildlife Federation is the oldest and largest nonprofit conservation organization in Alabama. AWF is dedicated to the promotion of conservation and wise use of our wildlife and natural resources to ensure a high quality of life for future generations of Alabamians. Focused in 3 major areas of conservation, education, resource stewardship, and hunting and angling heritage, there are so many ways you can get involved with AWF today. To join, make a donation, or learn more, visit alabamawildlife.org. That's alabamawildlife.org. You work with your husband. There are people who say if you've been married for 10 years and you work with your spouse, it feels like being married for 20. But I don't feel like that's the case with you and Cody. So tell me a little bit about what your work with Buckmasters looks like, and then I'll ask you about what the rest of life looks like.
So my role here at Buckmasters is I oversee all of the content and influencer marketing. We wear a lot of hats. We're a lean, mean team here for a brand that's been around. Next year will be 40 years. And so I do a lot of things outside of that scope, like sales and email campaigns and all the things. We're very busy. I'm very busy. Cody's very busy. He handles the podcast side of things and social media, but we've really been able to, or we've been given the opportunities to start building a family here at Buckmasters, not only internally, but also outside of the company with our on-the-road content creator team that are experts across the U.S. that are carrying on Jackie's legacy here.
Well, it has to be on the road because, the magic doesn't, we're creating magic here today in the studio, but if we didn't have the outdoor world, then that's where the magic really starts for what you're doing.
So true.
Yeah. Okay. And so that balance, you and I talked about this before, and I think that a lot of people have a question about how do you balance being married to your coworker, and what does that look like? You shared something with me that I thought was really invaluable.
Okay, are we talking about boundaries here?
We are talking about some boundaries.
Let's talk about some boundaries.
Yes.
Cody and I, honestly, it's always been our dream to work together. Since we've got married, we always talked about owning our own business someday or doing something where we could be together, as crazy as that sounds. And this job is such a blessing, but because of a lot of what we do is digital, our phone is in our hand. It feels like 24/7, even when we sleep at night. And so we set the boundary when we started working here that for our children and for our marriage, in the morning, the phone doesn't get touched until you're about to walk out the door. And in the evenings, you put it up. It goes on the charger. You cook with your kids. You play with your kids. You hang out. Now, we'll go out, when we go out and go ride the dirt roads or go feed the cows, we'll still take our phone and capture all the little things for our kids to look back on one day. But we certainly try to be mindful of checking emails or anything like that, anything work related.
I think that was a really great takeaway that I learned from you. And so I just think just to raise a family in a digital world, you've got to have those boundaries. Mm-hmm. So,
and for our kids, I know I discussed that with you too. It is hard to know what's fair to them of us to share about them versus, what the world doesn't need to see.
Exactly. Because it is kind of it's a crazy world out there.
Hard. Yeah,
yep.
It's hard.
Yep. So one of the other things that I was thinking about asking you was, what is something that you do better than Cody, and what's something that Cody does better than you?
Oh, I know. And honestly, when it comes to outdoors, there's nothing I do better than Cody. I hope he doesn't tune into this podcast and hear me say that.
I would say yet. There's not anything maybe. So
that is the bar.
Yes.
That is the goal. One day to kill a deer bigger than Cody.
There you go.
Catch a catfish way bigger than Cody. But honestly, what I do better than Cody is keeping up with any organization for the kids, for our jobs, crazy as that sounds, because I feel like I'm slacking on it so bad lately. But I realized last night as I was preparing Addie for K4 and Austin to move up into his new toddler room, which was like a punch to the gut, and he should not be a toddler yet. I was like, man, I'm laying here wide awake worrying about all the things of tomorrow and making sure everything stays on track. And this joker beside me is sleeping so peacefully and didn't have to worry about a single bit of it. And I think a lot of moms do like that, right?
Yes.
So I'd say I'm the better peacekeeper, chaos orchestrator. That is me. Cody is all things patient. Anything for our children, for me, for the people we work with when I'm losing my mind and I feel like a million things are going on and I'm complaining. In the outdoors when we're on hunts, he's the patient one. So definitely patience. He's got it to T over me.
Okay. That's awesome.
Definitely.
But I think that it works better when you're a yin and a yang.
It really is.
Yeah. You need, you need somebody to balance you out for sure.
He is certainly that.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
So what is next that you want to accomplish, maybe personally? Do you have a personal goal?
So that's a really good question. I'm really trying to get to a place where I feel like I am really exceeding as a mom. That is my personal goal. And right now I'm not there. Maybe it's in this crazy change of things that we've got going on and we just need to get back on a good routine. But I would certainly say I want to be the best example I can set for my kids. And right now, a little bit chaotic, a lot of moving parts. And then as far as professional, our goal is to really celebrate Buckmasters' 40th anniversary coming up and to help continue Jackie's legacy and have him recognized for what he's done here.
Can you talk a little bit about, so people who are watching or listening, they may not know who Jackie is. Can you? I know.
The Buckmaster.
Yeah, so you need to tell everybody.
Yes, Jackie kicked off his dream back in 1986.
Jackie's last name is?
Jackie Bushman.
Okay.
The Buckmaster.
Okay.
He kicked off the stream in 86, and it's been a whirlwind ever since. He started the company with roots in television and magazine. You may not know it because now the market is very saturated with awesome experts out there in the woods, but Jackie was the first whitetail expert to start a outdoor whitetail focused TV show and also a magazine. Since then, times have changed, and Jackie realized he doesn't want to be the next TikToker. He doesn't want to be the next person posting a story on Instagram, but he wants the legacy of Buckmasters to be continued and to find people that live this lifestyle and are willing to do those things. And so that's our goal.
Okay. That's awesome. I love all of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's incredible that Buckmasters is here. We are in Montgomery today. And I think you all live pretty close by.
We do. An
Okay.
hour south.
Okay. Awesome.
In the heart of Alabama.
There you go. So you're in the Black Belt region.
I am.
Okay.
A lot of good outdoor opportunities in that area.
Yes, totally. So what does it mean for you then to have all of that in your own backyard? I mean, Alabama is resplendent with opportunities.
It's super meaningful because, like I mentioned earlier, being the subdivision kid who didn't have access to a lot of those things, it's been so stinking cool to know that Addie and Austin will have it right there in their backyard. We live on 5 acres, but we've got 99 behind us, and the things my kids are going to get to do, from just getting to walk property, get to hunt whitetail, hunt turkey, year round, there's something to fill their time with. And I hope that for all the kids in Alabama, that they have a friend that's willing to do that with them. It's honestly what's kept me as my outdoor journey has evolved, really kept me from hunting out of state. I have never had a bucket list that included any species outside of Alabama because I'm so content right here in my backyard.
Mm-hmm. Everything. I mean, just from the foothills all the way to the coast, pretty much you can do anything you want here.
You cannot beat it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. So switching gears a little bit. So we were talking about how Jackie Bushman got his start with magazines and things like that. But now everything is mostly, it feels like a lot's online.
We're all looking at this.
I know. Sometimes I swear I wake up in the middle of the night and my hand is like this. I'm like, no, we don't need to be. We're not holding a phone. So, but I really think I think you can look at social media as a bad thing or as a really good thing. And I think that what you're doing is incredible, and you're creating interesting content that is useful to people. So how is that? What is that like to have a life online, and how do you use it for good?
Yeah, I would say the best thing about social media and, having everything right at our fingertips is a lot of the friendships that we've developed over the last 10 years have come from online, and they're from out of state. So we have friends that travel to come hunt with us here, fish with us here, noodle with us for the first time here. So that's certainly one positive to having a phone or social media in general. But another, I would say, is it's really cool to get to share your adventures online. And if you don't know a lot of people in your local community that can relate or get excited about the same things, you have that community online. You can post a picture of a whitetail buck and it be a safe space. You can ask for advice and it be a safe space. So that's certainly a neat, evolution as far as going from TVs and magazines to digital.
Yeah. I've had the same experience. There are people I never would have met in life before if it weren't for what we do.
What a blessing.
It is a blessing. It's like how we got to sit down together today.
So true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you do the hunting and fishing. So, and do you and Cody both cook?
I'm mainly the cook.
Okay.
Honestly, when you asked who was better at certain things, I almost said cooking. And then I was like, he'll be so offended by that because he thinks he just makes a killer breakfast. And you do, babe. But I cook like 90% of the meals, even wild game meals. Like I can make some mean catfish nuggets. But yeah, I'm the chef.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, and it's not like you're noodling a catfish and then you hold it and then someone else takes care of it. You've learned how to do everything.
He taught me everything.
Yeah.
Cody taught me everything. I will say specifically for catfish, the first summer that he taught me how to noodle, we kept a lot of fish. And I told Cody, I'm like, these fish are spawning. Let me back up. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of research done about noodling season and like if it could potentially affect the next season or breeding season of catfish. And so I told Cody, I'm like, these catfish are in there on their nests. They're guarding eggs. If you remove that fish and keep it, could you hurt the population? And he was like, there's not a lot done to prove that. We need to do that, Alabama. Somebody needs to get on that. But we stopped keeping fish because of that. And we now wait until our last trip of the year. We'll keep like 1 or 2 males and clean those fish and freeze them.
Okay. So, all right. Now, let me ask you this, because I've seen the size of some of those catfish. How old are...
So old.
It's like, how old is so old?
Oh, my goodness. I would tell you...
Like,
probably,
they're like 85 pounds, right?
I wish. I wish I could
No, well, how big are they?
The biggest I've ever caught was probably 60.
Okay.
And I don't like to put them, silly as it sounds, I don't like to put them through the pressure of being on a scale. Unless we're with friends that insist they get put in the boat and hung on a scale, we don't really like to do that.
Okay.
But we've put them on the scale, and I think the most I've seen on a scale was like 61.
Okay.
But
however,
so a
60,
that's old.
Okay, so that's old. Like, how old?
Back in probably like 2020, I got really curious and went down this catfish rabbit hole about like how many inches they grow per year. And I want to say like a catfish that's around 40 pounds, you're looking at like an over 20-year-old catfish. Wow. And so, and honestly, the bigger catfish are, the more they spawn, the better they spawn.
Okay.
So we don't keep big catfish. It's not because they don't taste good. If you've ever eaten a big catfish and it didn't taste good, it was because they didn't know how to clean it. But we don't keep them out of respect.
Okay.
And honestly, you get to catch the same fish over and over again typically throughout the season, so we enjoy that.
How do you know it's the same fish?
I have a fish named Larry. He's basically a pet at this point because we catch him season after season. But
Seriously?
Yes. They have very special markings. And so Larry had a huge gash in his side one season. I don't know if it was from when people had like been jug fishing or limb line fishing and he was foul hooked in some way. But literally the first time I caught Larry, he had a huge hole in him. And I know.
I want to know like how you got the name Larry.
I don't know. It's a redneck name. And we were doing redneck things.
Okay.
So I was like, Larry the cable guy. I don't know. So we named him Larry. And I was like, there's no way Larry's going to make it. We honestly contemplated keeping him and eating him so that he didn't suffer. But Cody was like, we've seen them survive some pretty gruesome things. Let's see if Larry makes it. We'll come check this hole in 2 weeks. And if he's there, great. I kid you not. I have video proof. Larry's gash that he had in his side was fully healed, but now is like this big pink, creamish colored scar. We have caught him 4 years in a row in the exact same hole. Larry is there the 1st of May. He prepares his nest for his girlfriend, and he waits around on her all season long. He's probably been caught by people from at least 8 different states at this point with us.
What do you think Larry's girlfriend's name is?
I
know we're gonna have to come up with it. Yeah, well, maybe Loretta or something. It has to be an L too.
Yes.
So
That's cute.
yeah, that's a great story. So okay, do the male catfish then also hang out with the eggs?
They are the best husbands. They're like
really
the dream guy. Yes, they come in, they clean out the house, they prepare it for their lady. She comes in and lays the eggs, and your man stays behind and guards the eggs. He lets her leave and eat and do whatever she wants, and he stays.
I have newfound respect for catfish.
I call them the Cody of catfish. Seriously.
Okay, well maybe I need to look for a Larry.
Yes, you do. That's adorable.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this has been so much fun today. I really honestly was so nervous before meeting you, and you totally put me at ease.
Aww.
And it has been a real treat. And I want to say just thank you and just give you a horseshoe. Thank you. Thank you.
What's the meaning behind the horseshoe?
They just make me happy. They have a connection to to being grounded to me. They also symbolize, obviously, good luck. I picked out this one just for you because it has like some rose detail on it here, and I just think it's a more feminine horseshoe, and
That's
it just
precious.
so it just
Thank
I feel
you.
very, very lucky to be sitting here with you, and I just appreciate your time today.
Likewise, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, we had a good time. To become a sponsor or supporter of a field, email editor@soul-grown.com or just send us a DM on Instagram. For more throughout the week, follow me and Soul Grown on social media. You can find me on all platforms at Christiana.Roussel as well as Soul Grown at soulgrown_Alabama. See you next time.